Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Tuesday update recorded on the 8th of July. And there's a lot of low pressure building south of Australia. Some of that is going to surge up and affect New Zealand over the next couple of weeks. There are lots of big high pressure zones still in the mix, but the low pressure zones south of the country, they're getting a lot bigger than they've been in previous months, as you'd expect as we head in towards the depths of winter. So let's have a look at the animated satellite map, showing plenty of thunderstorms still out at sea due to a low pressure zone. At this stage, those thunderstorms pose no threat to New Zealand. A lot of cloud in between the low and the outgoing high pressure system, but most of that is out to sea, some of it brushing the western and northern parts of the country. But otherwise, light winds and another cold start to the day thanks to the departing high pressure zone. Let's have a look now at the situation. So this evening, high pressure is southeast of Dunedin, south of the Chatham Islands, but it stretches all the way up to the tropics. It is a really large high pressure zone. It's like a dam, and it's blocking all the low pressure zones in the Southern Ocean that are trying to move around Antarctica. And you're going to see that in a moment, just how big and blocking that system is for a time anyway. The low in the Tasman Sea is about to get absorbed with the bigger system to the south of us, and that's the reason why in Australia, in the southeast corner, actually from about Adelaide eastwards, they've got plenty of weather on the way over the next few days. So at the moment, as the high departs, easterly winds coming in or northeasterly winds, either way, things are warming up. So on the frost map, here's how we look tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. Frosty weather again, but the zone has shrunk from where it was this morning, Tuesday. So we're seeing most of those frosts in the alpine areas or higher elevation, similar story into the North Island. And as those winds pick up even further going into Thursday, no frosts at all. Basically anyway, apart from the tops of the mountains there in the blue. So here is noon Wednesday. Check out that high pressure zone. It is enormous. So this is what I mean by this is like a dam blocking all of the low pressure systems that are trying to move from west to east. This enormous high pressure zone goes all the way down to Antarctica and all the way up to the tropics. So that is going to be pushing in some pretty warm weather for this time of the year into Antarctica. But around our part of the world, also warmer than average as it pulls down this more subtropical or Australian nor'wester. Either way, however you slice it, that is warmer weather coming through to us. A little bit of wet weather on Wednesday, not necessarily a huge amount, might be a couple of isolated heavy falls as a result of the low that's fallen apart. But you can see how this is a much larger area of low pressure, and this one in the south of South Australia sparking some severe weather potential in Australia on Wednesday. By Thursday, that severe weather in Australia pushes out to the east, big wintry change back again. I think there have been more wintry changes and snaps in the southeast corner of Australia than New Zealand has had this year. So that doesn't happen every year. Thursday in New Zealand, thanks to the big high pressure zone, the huge blocking one that is stopping all these lows from passing by quickly, that is still scooping the subtropical airflow, Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, straight down into New Zealand. That's why there's basically no frost risk on Thursday morning. It will be milder around the country while it's colder around the southeast corner of Australia. And by Friday, finally, we start to see more of the severe weather reaching us. I say finally because this is so slow moving because of the blocking high out to our east, which is still there to some degree. Now, because of the blocking high and the incoming low, 990 is quite low air pressure, that's going to make for more isobars. So a windy Friday, severe gales possible through central New Zealand and eastern areas. And then you've got this line of rain, which may well have heavy falls in it and some isolated thunderstorm potential. Once again, the northwest corner of the South Island exposed to a heavy rain event, and of course the strong winds go right up to the top of the country. Hopefully not too problematic for northern areas because you are closer to high pressure and further away from the centre of the low, but there's still a chance even of severe weather on Friday at the top of New Zealand. And by Saturday, the front quite clearly clears the country. The wind doesn't change much. It's still a west to northwest wind. So Saturday should be again mild in many northern areas. Further south you go, the more you're caught up in that spiral of low pressure. And so the airflow, even if it is a nor'wester, may not be as warm as it's been. So wet weather along the western side, mostly dry on the eastern side once that rain clears. the northeastern corner of the North Island. And by the time we get to Sunday, the low has kind of fallen apart, but this is all sort of low pressure around the South Island, Tasman Sea, and south of us. More stormy stuff south of Australia as well. So that means northwest winds carry on, warmest at the top of the country, coldest at the south of the country. Once again, eastern areas are dry, western areas are wet. And we kick off next week in a similar situation as that enormous block of high pressure still out here east of the Chatham Islands moves slowly further away. The windy westerlies around Australia and the storms south of Australia, they move closer towards us. So Monday's a bit of a transition day. A low pressure system around the North Island, a few showers. Southerlies now coming in for the North Island, a bit of a temperature drop on Monday there. Not a lot going on around the South Island, potentially a frosty morning for you. Rainfall wise, for the next 7 days, the northwest corner of the South Island jumps out again. Over 100 millimetres potential in that zone. Similar story down on the Westland, which is normal, and Mount Taranaki as well. So this rainfall map is not too alarming for most of you. And by the way, the pink shading here, Southland, Otago, Canterbury, Cantabrians will be happy with this, mostly dry. And it's like that really for the next couple of weeks ahead by the looks of it, due to more windy westerlies coming on through. Around the North Island, rainfall looks about normal, but once more, Hawke's Bay is the region that's not getting the rain that it actually needs. Not for now anyway. Then we need some more rain into Hawke's Bay. Be really good to get that before we get the windy westerlies of spring. And I get asked all the time, when is spring going to arrive? Some years it arrives in July. It's from a weather pattern point of view. Even in Southland, some years we've seen spring conditions arrive at the end of July. So we'll keep an eye on that, see how spring is shaping up. For now, we're in winter. No change just yet coming up. But all these windy westerlies on the way, not necessarily windy at your house every day, but on the map, those windy westerlies from Australia towards us can be a bit of a sign of spring being around the corner. But in our country, as many farmers know, we can get a major snowstorm in September or October even. So I'm not counting that out, but what I am saying is we've already seen a warmer than average past few weeks, and if we start to get those westerlies arriving and setting in, that kind of puts an end to a lot of the southerlies that hang around. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. I'm certainly not declaring winter over just yet. We're right in the middle of it at the moment. That's all from me. See you again tomorrow, Wednesday, with our next update.